Sometime. Okay, there we go. What's good, everyone? This is Big Ced back at it. The industry code sign for another. Oh, wait a minute. I didn't put this. Wait, let me put this in before I forget. There we go. My friends are better than yours, featuring Dennis L.A. White. Okay, cool. So as everyone that's been tuning in lately, my latest series, My Friends Are Better Than Yours. And for the people that's just tuning in for the first time, I have a lot of friends that do a lot of good things, and the main thing I like to do is like just speak to them and let people know exactly who they are if they don't already know them. You might already know them, but hopefully you'll get to find out more by the time this is over. What I typically do, because I'm bad at introductions, because I always mess up, I always allow my esteemed guests to introduce themselves so that way they can blame themselves if they mess up. So, my guest for today, Mr. Dennis L.A. White.
What's going on, man? Thanks for having me, Ced. I've been
I'm
on
glad
Big
you said.
Ced for a minute when I was running the streets in New York, man.
Yep.
So I got to introduce myself. All right, well, yeah, I'm Dennis L.A. White, actor, director, producer, writer, acting coach. I've been in business for mad years. I've been in over 80 movies and TV shows. Most notably, The Brave One with Jodie Foster, Notorious, the Biggie Smalls biopic. The closer. Recently, I'm on a show called Cold and Windy that's on number one show on All Black, and I'm on this new show called second season of House of Vicious, which premieres Thursday, um, September 19th. And I'm an acting coach. My company is called Act Like You Know, so I teach people how to be working actors.
Cool. Yeah, we definitely will get into that because as everyone that watches knows, it can go in any directions. Not saying bad, but just in general. But what I like to do is let people know what you're doing presently or what you're planning to do, so that way they know what to look forward to as we have conversations. Because depending on what's said, it's going to go and there's a lot of things to talk about. In recent news, so I'm pretty sure we'll get to some of those things. But as you stated, you okay, you know what, let's go to the acting school and then go to the acting, because I know that the name of the acting school is Act Like You Know, and you've been doing it for a number of years. And I guess let the people know, like, what do you do, why did you start it, and what can anybody get out of it if they sign up to learn from you?
Well, I've been doing this for like 15 years now. Wow, it's crazy. The the reason why I started, because I was getting bombarded by questions by people like, Dennis, what happened? Why do you know this? And I had the answers, right? And I was Sway. I had the answers, Sway. Um, so I decided I'm gonna do a workshop and see what happens. And it was packed out. I'm like, oh snap. So I just started teaching, doing classes, and then private coaching, and this evolved from years and years, from New York to LA. I've done workshops in Houston, Florida, North Carolina, uh, Detroit, Atlanta, like up all over the country. And so right now I do private coaching, one-on-one sessions with actors, up and coming actors, celebrities. I'm the unset acting coach for House of Vicious, which is on BET. And also was the unset acting coach for T.I.'s Apartments TV show. And I really help build characters and help build careers. I show you what's the process of being a working actor. A lot of times the acting coaches, they teach you method. I teach you method and how to break down a script, but I also teach you how to get that work. And I think that's what sets me apart from everything else, and the knowledge of the industry.
So as an up and coming actor, what would you say is, now, out of all the things that you mentioned, of course it's definitely beneficial, but what do you want them to be the best takeaway for them, for when they stop, or maybe it's a continuous thing, but when they get the job or want to get the job, what is it that you want for them to take away from anything they've learned from you?
Being able to be a professional on set,
Okay.
and the professionalism goes beyond just being able to know your lines,
Yeah.
but also knowing how to adjust to the set, um, knowing the terminologies that are spit out at you so you don't look dumb. you know, so you know what your mark is, how to find your light, over the shoulder, all type of terminology, so that when you're on set, you're comfortable and you're not bombarded. You're already going to be nervous,
Yeah.
but to have a sense of calmness, knowing what to do and how to do it.
And that's definitely important because, as you stated, any and everybody can learn the technique and even have the talent. But if they don't know the intricacies of what goes on set, that can definitely set them back. So that's definitely a plus for anybody that's watching and want to, pursue. Or if you're doing it and you haven't gotten the work, or you haven't been as consistent as you like to be, definitely hook up with Dennis. And I'm pretty sure by the time you're through, you'll be, in that next Denzel Washington movie. So
I mean, here's the thing about it. There's a lot of people out here giving acting classes who don't have no credits, who've been in like maybe 1 or 2 projects, background work. Like, if you Google me and go to my IMDb and see what I've done, and that's any acting coach you go to, any class, look them up and see if they're active and they're doing a lot of work. If they can't do what you want to do, how can they teach you to do it?
exactly. And that's a great point because, as you say, people are out there trying to, hustle, and people are just wasting money and not getting anywhere. So let's how did you get into the acting game? Like what was your entry point, and what made you decide to actually pursue it as a career?
I was always acting as a kid. I was doing plays, theater, talent shows. I was doing that in sports. When I graduated from high school, in high school I was doing theater classes, regional theater, and I did a movie called Swimming that we shot in Myrtle Beach, like on some humbug tip. And I was like, I like this, and I got paid for it, and I get residuals from it. I'm like, I could do this. So I just went to the ranks, taking classes, studying, and I went to Vinette Carroll School down in Fort Lauderdale. I moved to DC. I did a lot of theater in DC, and I moved to New York. And New York was a different beast because everybody there is on the grind. So I learned a lot in New York. And my first project in New York, what really opened the doors was when I hosted at Fuse Television. When I was a host at Fuse, like that really opened the doors where I had visibility. We had millions of viewers daily. It was like a TRL type of TV series, music show. We had all the celebrity guests from 50 Cent to Eminem to everybody, Destiny Child there. And so that kind of helped me get my visibility and really got me the grind in for a daily grind on in the entertainment field. That opened up a lot of doors for me.
Now I know, like you said, you've been acting for some time, but there's always that one time when you actually feel that, not even feel, but know that you actually made it. And the thing is, even if you have like other goals in mind or higher planes to reach, when did you realize that you were actually, because I could call myself an actor and have done things that hasn't gotten me any accolades or even views, in any way. But I do know, because I've gone to school with some actors, celebrities, people who became celebrities, I should say, rappers, singers, whatever, where, there's always a point where you're like, yo, I'm here. What was that point? What was that point for you? Or are you at that point yet?
I mean, I had like maybe 2 turning points. The Brave one was the first thing because, I'm acting with Jodie Foster, and I took it, I'm like, I'm dope. I know I'm good, whatever. And I'm on set, I'm seeing her, and me and my homeboy, we laughing and, this trying to holler at the chicks on set. Like, yo, what's up, yo? And I see her focus. I'm like, oh, shit, me and her got this scene together. I got to be just, so I watched her and I matched her energy. And when we had the premiere, and everybody was there, Robert Downey Jr. and all A-list celebrities were there. And when in the movie, when I got killed, the whole audience cheered and laughed. I'm like, yo, I'm here, yo. What the hell y'all laughing at? I'm dead. I was like, okay, I made an impact. And then Notorious. Notorious was the movie that was the turning point in my career. Honestly, I didn't think it was going to be as big as it was, because I just didn't, I didn't want to shoot my shot too hard and expect it. But when I saw the impact it had on the world and fans to this day, that was the turning point of my career. People still call me D-Rock, and people still talk about that show, and I walk by and people are like, yo, I put my socks on first, motherfucker. I'm like, oh, my mom's right here, bro. Like, be easy, So that was the turning point.
Well, that was a definite a major role when you think of like all the Big's Notorious B.I.G.'s, cohorts and friends. So D-Rock was definitely a name that people definitely knew if you knew hip hop. I shouldn't say if you knew hip hop, if you knew Biggie hip hop, if you knew anything that had to do with Biggie, that D-Rock was definitely one of them. So you definitely had a great entry point when you did do it, and then doing the job that you were supposed to do in order to be recognized. I think that definitely gives you props as well, because as you know, that there are people that may play a role, but do they play the role? So it's like, that's always, I think, a point where people remember, because it's like you can remember when somebody played the hell out of a role.
Yeah. You know how many people make it to the NBA that never make it on the court?
That's true.
Like so, that is a difference, and I feel like D-Rock is an iconic character. His struggle for him to take a bid for someone else's friend, that's honorable. All street dudes like, yo, son, yo, you want a drink, B? Yo, and it's relatable, because a lot of people, when I meet a lot of people, they don't think that I'm an actor. They think I'm their family member.
Yeah. And I was just about to ask that too, because it's like I'm pretty sure when the movie came out, when people saw you, they actually saw you as D-Rock as opposed to Dennis playing D-Rock.
Yeah, a lot of people, and so, and then New York, shout out to NYC, they really supported me, because a lot of y'all saw me on the grind before that movie. Y'all saw me hustling and sneaking on red carpets, sneaking into your parties, bro. I used to sneak in your parties all the time, steal bottles off people's tables. Like I was wilding, but for real, like I stood up because they knew that I hustled and was on the grind for sure.
Yeah, because I was about to say, I know. I'm from New York. I grew up in New York, and I'm still in New York. And like New York is definitely a different animal. And if I'm correct, you're not from New York.
No, I'm not from New York.
So like moving to New York when you did, like, how much of a culture, at the same time, was it a culture shock? And the reason why I asked is because most people I know that's not from New York, that lives in New York or have lived in New York, basically have the same type of reaction, even knowing what New York is about or having an idea what New York is supposed to be. But actually living in New York takes on a whole different feeling, because regardless of whether you see in movies, videos, or hear about on the news, like living in New York is like such an experience. And for me, it's funny because I'm from New York, so I don't get that because I'm here. I've been here. So what was your mindset and thought process when you actually like were in New York, and you actually, in terms of how people look at people, like you made it while living in New York?
Well, here's the thing. So I was born in California, and I grew up in Cali until I was like, early teens. I moved to North Carolina. Okay. But even when I was in Cali, I loved New York hip hop. So when I moved to North Carolina, North Carolina has a lot of New York essence. So I was a big fan of New York, Native Tongues, everything, Boot Camp Click, everybody. I was a head. I was a hip hop head. So I went to New York one time with my mom. There's a gospel artist named Hezekiah Walker. We went to his church my mom writes gospel music and stuff. So we went to his church, and I loved it. That's my first time going to New York. And I was like, oh, and it was a blizzard and everything. I'm like, I love this city. I could do this. And so when I got older, I had an opportunity to move up to New York, and God really worked it out for me, because I was directing a play that we were supposed to do like 3 weeks in New York, and we ended up only doing 1 week, and I had to go to DC, and wait those 2 weeks out because I was gonna move up there because the place wasn't ready yet. And the guy ended up doing a tour with Mariah Carey, so I had to stay in New York. I mean, in DC for like a year or so. That was the best thing for me because I gained more um, uh, credits as far as acting and other things, but I also could go back and forth to New York. So I was acclimating myself to New York. So when I got to New York, I wasn't like a fish out of water. I was like, okay, I'm already kind of acclimated. And then, New York is still a different beast. And so from me, myself, and I used to go down to Times Square in front of the MTV building. You know what I mean? Because when you're not in New York and you see that on television, like, this is banoodles. You know what I mean? So I used to go there and just be outside and try and get on shows, and which I did. I was on Direct Effect. I was on Say What Karaoke. I was on that show doing a Big Pimp with Jay-Z. I was on the show Stung with Redman and Method Man. So I did the grinding of it. So I was an adopted New Yorker. And so New York is my favorite city in the world that I would never live back at again.
That's a good thing. I have a because I know with a lot of people that enter into the arts, period, regardless of what you're doing, like we have opportunities to expand beyond our repertoire, whatever we're doing. And you mentioned that you were directing. Mm-hmm. What gave you the inspiration to go into directing as well? Because you've done things within acting, but outside of actually acting.
Man, I kept getting DPs, directors of photography.
Yeah, I'm gonna say
no Diddy. Pause. But nah, I kept getting, them like, yo, you should direct. And I was afraid of it. I'm gonna be honest with you, because it's a lot. So I just stepped out on faith, and I'm like, let me start, I was directing a couple videos and little stuff like that. And then a movie came into my lap, The Prayer. And it was a faith-based film, and I directed it, and it did really well. It was received well. It's on Tubi right now, actually. And so I was like, I like this. As an actor, you come to set and everything is already done. You just got to make sure you are capable and you're strong in your character. But as a director, you see it from the infancy, from the script to production to casting to everything. You see the whole thing, and it's eye-opening. And that actually helped me as an actor to be able to be behind the camera as well. And it's also the way the industry is going right now. Shit is crazy. So you have to start, directing and producing your own projects now. And, if you think about the major artists, that's what they do. So I'm like, why not? From Denzel to Brad Pitt, they Matt Damon, they all direct, they all produce. So I'm like, that's the natural evolution if you want to stay in this industry.
And you just took my question away when you said that it made you look at things differently as an actor by being on the other side. How do you cope, if that's the right word, with like having to, like, once you put on that director hat, that's more than one hat, because then you have to deal with, the production team, you have to deal with the actors, you have to deal with whatever the scenario is, you have to deal with whatever comes along with it. Like, so how does your mindset change when you have to put on that director's hat, knowing that at any given time something could go either wrong or something can go not as planned? Doesn't necessarily mean that's going to be wrong, but not as planned. How do you get into the mindset of realizing that, okay, so now I have to, like, when you're an actor, you just need to do what you need to do with whatever the director basically tells you to do. But as a director, now you become the king, so to speak, that you have to direct everyone. How do you get into that?
Well, here's the difference. As a director, you're also talented as well, because you're a creative talent. So the best way as a new and up-and-coming director is to have a team that's better than you. You have a first AD that's better than you. You have a DP that's smarter than you. You have a production manager that's smarter than you. You have a line producer that knows better than you. So you have people that can handle things that you are not equipped to do, and that you shouldn't have to do. I shouldn't have to adjust the lighting over here because we have, grips over there that knows exactly how it's supposed to be done. I just needed to be able to verbalize what I want and what I need, and that's one thing that is the evolution of as a director, because you want to do it yourself. But you have to say, all right, that's his job. Yeah, no, I need more light here. I need more shadow here. Um, the we need food for the background actor. That's not my job. First AD, you handle that. Being able to delegate a lot is one of the biggest talents as a director. So you can just be focused on making sure the shot looks perfect, so the audience don't know none of the bullshit that goes on behind the scenes.
Well, this is another thing, because I think I've acted in one play when I was like in second grade, so I'm far removed. So like as an actor, I'm sure that when like you're given a scene or whatever, and then you just go about it. But as a director, it's a matter of, like you said, getting the right lighting, getting the right sound. Like, does it take any special skill set to actually get into doing it correctly, or is it something that grows within you? I mean, of course, everyone is different, but for you specifically, like, some people take classes, some people watch others, some people comes to them naturally. How does it come to you, or how did it come to you when you're in the director's chair to make whatever decisions you need to make sure everything is what it needs to be?
There's no production that's ever been made that flows smoothly. From Spike Lee's project to anything. I've worked with Spike Lee on Miracles Boys. You know, Quentin Tarantino. There's no movie that has done this went smoothly. There's always hiccups, and so being able to adapt and adjust, on a moment's notice. Also understanding the pre-production aspect of it. So what I did was I did a lot of pre-production. I did well over a month of pre-production, so that I was as equipped as I could be. Things are always going to come, and it's kind of like the more you do, the better you get.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of times it just ain't for some people. Some people direct me like, bro, you need to fall back, son. It's not for you, B. But some people are natural, and I feel like I have a natural talent for it. It's just a matter of doing the most. But I want to go back to what you said as far as the actor. You just come up and show up. No, the levels of acting is different, where you go in and you delve into this character. You make sure that every line that you say has an importance, and you know the reasoning why you're saying everything that you're saying, and your focus of it. So that separates from people who want to act, and people who are actually acting.
Two questions that just came to mind. One, let's say, okay, you're still doing your acting, but you have opportunities to direct somebody who you respect on such a level where, and not to say that you're intimidated, but the person may have an intimidating presence, and they've been doing it for 30 years. Like how do you, or you may have done it already for all I know. But like, I'm trying to frame the question like I know that people like can be intimidated just because of the breadth of work that somebody may have done that is on a higher level than them when it comes to experience. Would that affect you in the way that you speak to or direct? If it was Denzel, if it was Samuel L. Jackson, if it was somebody of that caliber, where it's like, okay, he's worked with like mad different people, has done mad different things. So like, how can I get him to not only listen to me but respect my side of the camera, so that way I can get the best from him?
The only thing that matters is the script and the story.
Okay.
That's the biggest celebrity out of anybody on set. So as long as the actor understands the story and the script and is conveying that properly, whether you're first time out or you've done 200 movies, then you're great. If you've done 800 movies and you're not understanding the story, as a director, my job is to direct you and lead you to the purpose of your character. And it's funny, I had a situation with someone that me and him was cool. We was mad cool. He's been in a lot of movies, some of your favorite movies. And me and him had a falling out because he wasn't respecting the character. And he was in the id on I wanted, and not on the character.
Yeah.
And so me and him are no longer cool these days, to where, you know, I might want to smack him when I see him now. And that's funny. but nah. But it has the script has to be the paramount thing. And you see a lot of times when actors and fall out with the director and all that stuff, 9 times out of 10, it's because either the actor wants to be bigger than the script, or the director wants to be bigger than the script. So you have to make sure that the story is told. That's it. So when I work with like big time actors or really solid actors, I ask them questions.
Okay.
You know, and that's it. And if they have questions, they ask me. If they don't, and they know, and they go on set and they kill it, great. If I have to redirect them on something, it's always about respect. It's never disrespect. You know, so that's how I move.
Yeah, and like I said, as I talk, like things come to mind as I'm talking, and because there can be times where the both of you can read the script but see different visions. And I know, of course, the director is the one that is supposed to take the vision that it's supposed to be and make it. But what happens if, and like I said, it may never happen, but I'm just thinking, just because, like I said, just because I'm not an actor, so I've never been in this situation. But what happens when, like, you have a vision, the actor has a vision, but then you start to realize maybe the actor's vision is better than your vision. And like I said, there's no egos involved. It just makes sense. But you've already gone in one direction. Like, so
you let them rock. Here's the thing. So as an actor, I've been on a situation where the director has a vision. Yo, I want you to do it this way. Right? But I know that my character would do it a different way.
Gotcha.
So what I do is I do both. I do it the way that I feel like the character should do it, and then I'll do it his way. Now, when the editor goes into the editing bay, he has those different takes. It's like the director wanted take 3, but the best take was take 2. We're gonna use that. And then the director, oh, that was great. Yeah, I told you, fool. You know what I mean? But as a director, if you have a vision of how you should do it, let's go. Let's see it. It don't work. We tried it. You know what I mean? Let's try it this way, or let's adjust it so that it appeases you, the script, and myself. Let's figure out how we can come to a happy medium. Because at the end of the day, I don't want the project to come out and say, "Yo, I told him to do it that way," and it was horrible. I want to come out. I want it to be great. So that's how, as a director, you have to, be able to be an amoeba and be able to be like water and let things flow so that the project looks great. Is great all the way around.
See, this is glad I do these things in this format, because I never would have even thought that we would have gone down this path, because like you said a couple of things. And I'm like, oh, wait, well, and I'm pretty sure there's people that are watching that's going to be like, oh, I didn't know that either. Because you also said something about when it goes to the editing, because I have this notion that, like, not necessarily the actor, but when it comes with the director, that when the director and the editor, they're doing it together, and the director is telling the editor what needs to happen in order to complete the story, because they're different scenes. But I'm finding out it's not necessarily that cut and paste where it's like you would think. And I'm pretty sure that there's many people out there that doesn't know the process and just thinks like whatever, because I used to produce. I did music at one time. And I would tell people that as a producer, I'm the director of the song. So that's how I made people understand the role, because some people think the role of a producer is basically just doing the music and that's it. And it's like, no, if I do something, and whether it's singing or rapping, and the artist is doing it in a way where I'm like, nah, I think if you do it this way, it may be better. Then I'm actually directing, and then if it comes out, then we all win because the music is better. So that's how I view a director as well. But also knowing that it's along the same vein, but there's still different intricacies because it is what it is as far as acting and music. So
here's the thing: the director also does. The director should be heavily involved in the editing process as well. But for example, if you do scene 23, right, and as the director, I wanted you to do it one way, and the actor did it another way. When we edit the movie and we shot the movie in March and we edited in July, I might not remember take 3 is the best one. So when I look at it and I see take 2 is amazing, I'm like, let's use that take. I love it. Okay. One thing about it, like when I did Notorious, we had like a rap party. We had a premiere party, and this tall, I don't know, he was German or Swedish white dude came up to me and hugged me and kissed me on the cheek. I love you. I freaking love. I'm like, yo, who that? This was the editor. He's like, I love you so much, Dennis. You made my job so easy because I was consistent in every take. So I made when he was putting the pieces together, if I grabbed the remote control with the right hand, every time I grabbed it was the right hand. My continuity was always on point. Where I held my hand was always on point. So it made the editing proper for him. And that's what a lot of times, sometimes as an actor, we might have a take that's great, but we did it with the wrong hand, so they can't use it. Or we looked in the wrong direction. Those little nuances changes everything. So as an actor, you got to make sure you're consistent in everything that you do, every take, so that it's easy for them to keep that scene in there.
Are there any movies that have come out over the past, let's say 15, 20 years that you weren't involved with, that you feel that you would have done a great job if you were in the role of whoever it was? Doesn't have to be a main character, but just like, are there any movies where you're looking at it like, yo, that could have been me, or I would have done a better job?
All of them. Every movie I'm not in, I could have done better than everybody, son. Everybody.
That makes sense. I mean, that makes sense because I'm pretty sure there's some rappers like, yo, I would have killed that beat instead of this person and that person. But I mean, I'm kind of amazed because, like I said, I actually thought about getting into acting, and God bless the dead, Winston Sinclair. She saw something in me. This was like 30 years ago. She actually I became SAG eligible because of her, because I was an extra in the Malcolm X movie with Spike Lee.
Me too. No. I wasn't extra in Malcolm X. No.
Yeah.
Ali movie. I was in
Ali. Oh
yeah.
Okay. But I was an extra because she got me because like she was always trying to push me. But my first love was always been music. Always been music, and I guess I knew that I could do it. I probably could still. No, let me phrase that. I could still do it.
You can.
But I also know that when you have a particular path that you need to do, I didn't feel like acting was it, and I didn't want to take. I just wasn't into it in a way that I could have been, because if I had that passion, then I would have taken that route, and you would be directing me right now. So that's my thinking. But the reason why I bring that up is because, like, even going through that process, and I know that having certain people in your corner are like rooting for you definitely helps, because if I had any intentions on becoming an actor, Winsome was definitely, and then she became this big casting director, and like I said, bless the dead, and just knowing that like people that I know are doing a thing and continuously doing it was a good push. Did you, or do you have anybody within your circle that has kept you going outside of your own passion? Because of course you have your own passion, and you're probably going to go regardless of what anybody else does. But I do know as humans, sometimes we get that either down moment or we get that doubtful moment where we're like, is it really for me or can I do this? Like, do you have any BD or have you had instances where over the past couple of years or from the start where you felt like, well, is this really for me?
Never.
Okay, that's fair.
It's always been hard. It's supposed to be hard.
Yeah.
There's been times where it's been challenging where like, man, this is crazy. I mean, but never where I was going to give up and like, I'm not going to do this anymore. You know, I wasn't like, I'm a hijack Delta or start, babysitting, selling trees. Like I was all, even I was doing that, I was still going to act. This is my life. This is who I am. There's no plan Bs. I'm not going to be doing anything different. And I have to have that tunnel vision, regardless of what trials and tribulations come. Even when I got blackballed for a while, I still had to push through.
Yeah. There's I know that like I said, I know actors. I've come up with a few, and I know that from the outside looking in, I should say, there's a difference between stage acting and I guess filmed acting.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel the same way? I mean, of course, there's different technique, and of course, if you're on a play, you're doing it on a routine however you're doing it. But as far as the perception, as well as the thought process behind it, do you see a difference, or would you? I know you. Wait, have you done any like off Broadway or Broadway plays since you started?
Definitely, I did a one-man show called Die Laughing off Broadway. And so I'm actually writing a book right now, but my concept and my delivery about the difference of the genres is when you're doing theater, you're telling the story to the audience. When you're doing television, you're leading the audience to the story. When you're doing film, you're experiencing the story with the audience. And that's the difference.
Okay. And that definitely had different approaches because even when you said that, I'm like, that kind of makes sense. It makes sense.
You'll never hear it from anyone else but me, bro.
And that's important because I don't want to hear from anyone else. No, let me stop. But I want to go back to I want to go to break because sometimes like when I'm talking to people, I remember certain people, and you actually worked with a good friend of mine who I actually grew up with on Family Business. Who do you think I may be talking about?
He played Junior.
I forgot which character he was. Well, Darren Dewitt Henson.
Oh, okay.
we grew up together, went to junior high school together, and I've watched him like with his transformation from choreography to the dancing, and now like at an actor, and I always enjoy seeing people when they're doing a thing be successful in one thing and then become successful in something else. And the reason why I pose it in that way is because is there anything else that you'd like to do outside the realm of what you're doing now that you think you can or would like to do, even if it's not now, if it's further down the line? Or was there something else you were doing, but the acting took off for you where, you knew if, you could have continued this, like you would have been more successful or just as successful as where you're at now?
I kind of want to get back in the porn business. About to start my OnlyFans page, and kind of give the people what they want. But before
I was like, wait, hold up. I mean, you could be.
I'm messing with you, but let me back up. Shout out to Darren, man. Darren's my big homie. Darren has been, I love Darren Henson. He's taught me so much. He is the ultimate hustler, the grinder. Shout out I just ran into him in the airport of Houston a couple weeks ago. Okay. He bumped into me on some like, yo, and that's my brother. I love Darren Henson. Shout out to the guys, you know what I mean? Anything else I would like to do? I'm always like, music is always something that I love. I used to rap under the guys Dennis and Menace. So music is always something that I love. I don't know if I'm, if I want to get back on the circuit like that. I don't know. I mean, I think that me acting, teaching, building careers, I think that's where my thing is. Producing projects, telling stories for people who are disenfranchised, just being able to tell different stories and help and build a community. And I've always been an activist. That's why I actually I said I got blackballed, because of I had a situation that happened outside the industry, racially promoted provoked situation that led to the industry in LA kind of like blackballing me for a while. So always supporting Black power, equality, regardless of who it is. And so definitely in that. So I don't know if it's politics. I don't know if it's politics, but it's always supporting our people.
Yeah, no doubt. I don't even know. I would say, speaking of support, but no. I mean, what I'm trying to incorporate now, because like I said, when I filmed podcasts in the past, I was sitting on for like 3-4 months because I just get caught up in everything else I'm doing.
Yeah.
But I also realized that if I force myself to speak about things that are current, it definitely will be. I'll pay more attention to it and post it quicker. But the only reason why I bring this up, because this is the biggest thing that's been happening. Of course, the Diddy situation, and we started off as interns together. He was an intern at Uptown. I was an intern at Motown, and I know that everyone is talking about it. Do you care to, not to inflame anything or do anything? I don't want anybody to think that that's what I'm trying to do. But I also feel that sometimes that we see, and like I said, I came up with Puff, and I know like his start. Like what would you say, or how would you what would you say to people that, particularly the people that's coming to you to get advice as far as in the industry, like what would you tell people to prevent them from getting caught up in something, may not be that bad, but something that can, like you said, well, no, like that can either destroy your career or your life in essence. Like, what advice? And I'm pretty sure you've been around certain things or certain people that we're not going to talk about.
Hey, yo, New York people is very tiptoeing around this whole Diddy mess. Yo, you tiptoeing like about a Reno, bro.
No, but no, it's not a matter of me tiptoeing. It's just a matter of me, because the thing is, everybody's known me as long as I've been doing what I do. Like, I don't feed into whatever negativity or whatever.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's out there. And like I said, I've never been involved in anything that I could be ashamed about. Well, in theory, no. And that's the only reason why I'm approaching it in a way, because I don't want people to think that I'm trying to jump on a bandwagon, because I've been watching podcasts and listening to news and the type of stories that people are saying and doing. And I'm like, yo, I don't know. Like I said, I just feel that since that's what everyone is talking about, I just want to get a viewpoint of what not to do, as opposed to talking about the particular situation and piling on. That's the reason why I'm doing it in the way I'm doing it.
Okay.
Because like I said, it can still go any direction, but I just want it to be for anybody that's watching, because anybody that knows me knows that they're never gonna find out I've been in a situation where they can be like, oh shit. With you, I don't know, but
that's where you go with me. This is my thing. If you want to be in this industry, stay ashy. Don't put no lotion on, because you see Diddy had 1,000 bottles of baby. Stay ashy. I'm ashy. Yo, Diddy has never came at me because I'm ashy, B. My knees are ashy. My feet are ashy. My elbows are ashy.
Nothing else matters. Just stay ashy.
Stay ashy. Nah, but for real. But I've been knowing Diddy for a long time, bro. You know what I mean?
Ashy. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Stay ashy. Nah, I've been knowing Diddy for a long time. You know what I mean? he co-produced Notorious. I've been to his white parties, the ones in the Hamptons, at his crib. I've been to a lot of his parties.
Well, how long did you stay? No, I'm just joking. Go ahead. I'm just joking.
Here's the thing. It's me and my homeboys talking about. Diddy had his 50th birthday party at his crib in LA. One of the best parties I ever been to in my life. Like, I'm honestly, it was like top 5 parties. Kobe, Pop Smoke, Chadwick Boseman was there. Andre Harrell, Tyler Perry, Leonardo DiCaprio, Beyonce, Jay-Z, so on and so on and so on. And we left that mug about 5 o'clock in the morning, right? But here's my thing. In this industry, you got to not be curious and nosy. And I'm not those two things. So I'm not going to go in places to where it's not a crowd. I'm not going to go into his bedroom. I'm not going to, let me see what's up here. I'm cool on that. So you got to know what you're there for. I wasn't there to freak nobody. I was there to have a good time and to network. And you also know when it's time to leave, when things are kind of getting a little, dwindling down and stuff. Like, you don't have to close the party down. You don't have to, and and like I said, I've been knowing Diddy for a long time. He's never came at me crazy. I've never seen anything crazy. And I ain't got no reason to lie. I've never seen anything crazy. I never seen none of that stuff because I don't put myself in that predicament. And a lot of times people come to LA and New York and they say this, I'll do whatever it takes to make it. Okay, we'll see.
Yeah.
And not thinking that, they're just thinking that they're open, but people take that into account. So you got to make sure that what your purpose is. Now, some people bust it open so they get where they got to go. And like, yeah, I did that. And look what I got now. And that's cool if that's how you feel. That's not me. When they're talking about he has videotapes, I sleep great because I know I'm not on any tape doing anything solicit or illicit. Yeah. So that's the whole thing. You got to be accountable for what you do. And I tell my actors, the biggest, most powerful word we have is the word no. No. You can always say no, regardless of what they dangle in front of your face or say. You can always say no, because if I'm good enough that you're interested in me working in that capacity, there's someone else going to be interested as well.
Exactly. And I'm glad you said that because, like, even when I've given advice over the years, like, whenever any situation comes up that is negative towards anybody, whether it's acting, music, the arts, whatever, and people are like, oh, but, they put themselves in that situation. Yes, I agree, but I also tell people that sometimes, like, you have to realize what is the worst thing that can happen, and if you can handle it, I say do it. And I'm not saying that to give advice. I'm just saying that the reason.
So is that what happened when you was at Epstein?
They'll do that.
I heard you was at Epstein Island, yo, for real.
They'll do that. They'll do that. But the funny thing is that when I first got in the industry, when hip hop was just getting big, I grew up in the Bronx, and I had a lot of hustler friends, people who did a lot of dirt. Mm-hmm. They knew I knew a lot of rappers. They knew I was involved, so they gave me an opportunity to make money. Mm-hmm. So I'm saying to myself, that money can be good. But two things I thought about: one, my mother, because she would kill me herself if I did anything that she couldn't be proud of. Mm-hmm. And two, I'm like, what's the worst that can happen? Jail, death. Mm-hmm. I don't want to die, and I don't want to live in anybody's cage. Mm-hmm. So I never did it. I've had friends that did it. I even had one guy on my block. His first drug sale was to a Fed. Was to a Fed.
Dang, it's crazy.
That hurt. I mean, and I forgot. Like I said, this was years ago. But like the fact that and the thing is, for some people, it's about survival. Mm-hmm. I understand. I was just never in that position because I had a good life, middle class, never needed for anything. So it would have been a poor reason for me to want to do it besides greed. So and I say that specifically because in our industry, me specifically with music and you specifically with the acting, there are so many opportunities at any given time, and there are probably more vultures than people who wouldn't do that. And those are the ones that are appealing to the people that are trying to get
Yeah.
in yet. So that's one of the reasons why I'd asked you, like, what would you advise not to do? Because a lot of people have the I wish I hadn't done this. I had a music producer. Now I came up with Teddy Riley as well. Me and
That's
Teddy known each other for years.
my big brother. Yeah.
Yeah. It's funny because one of my friends from the Bronx, this is when I was doing music. So he's like, yo, I have an opportunity to move down to Virginia to work with Teddy.
Mm-hmm.
No shade to Teddy, because I saw him at the Fat Man Scoop on Memorial
Mm-hmm.
last week.
R.I.P.
First time I've seen him in years. But I said to him, because he knows that I used to do celebrity basketball games for Teddy down in Virginia.
Mm-hmm.
So he's like, yo, this is a great opportunity. And I'm like, don't. And he's like, why not? Isn't that your man? I was like, yeah. But we don't work in the capacity where, from the people that I know that have worked with him, the business isn't what you need it to be if you're if you're not in a position to negotiate.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, oh, but this, that, and the other. But of course, he was from the projects, had
Mm-hmm.
no other way out, and I understood his situation. So I'm like, going in, know what you're getting into. I can't tell you what you're getting into because I don't know. I can only tell you what I've been told. And even then, it's not direct because, like I said, I know him. We're friends.
Mm-hmm.
But I can't tell you how he'll treat you. But go in with the mindset that it might happen so that way you can, prepare yourself. About a year and a half later, he moved back to the Bronx, saw me,
Mm-hmm.
and he was like, yo, I should have listened to you. And I said to him, I said, you know what? Don't look at it as you should have listened to me because without that opportunity, you may not have had an opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, he was telling me that there was some music that he was involved with that became hits that he got nothing from.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like and like most people like him, he dropped out of the music. He's like, I can't do this. But I always try to tell people that sometimes you have to go in with the doubt because if you're gonna be right back where you were and somebody's made money off of you, that's even worse because if you got out the projects but then come back with nothing to show for it, like if you made money and you blew it or you fucked up, that's on you.
Mm-hmm.
But if you go into a situation when you were given advice, because I wasn't the only one that told him to be careful. But
Mm-hmm.
if you go into a situation where multiple people tell you to watch it and you don't watch it, the only thing I can do is kind of put the blame on you because you had an idea. And I hate to say it in that vein, but it is true because I know that there's been situations where I'm like, I should have handled that better. But the difference is, I know that, and I take the blame, and I don't blame anybody but myself because But at the same time, like I said, some people aren't as, I don't want to say smart, but aren't as intuitive as I am because
Well,
I.
here's the thing, though. With him, and I don't know the dude, so it's not no shade or whatever, but you're have no name, no credit in the industry,
Yeah,
and you get an opportunity to work with one of the greatest producers of all times. So yeah, you might have produced on some stuff and you didn't get any credit, but you got a lot of experience and
we could have used that.
build on that. And that happens to a lot of producers. That's happened to a lot of people in the industry, a lot of writers. People wrote songs that have blow up and they never get credit for it, but they keep going. And that's part of the game. And if you're not built to withstand the trials and tribulations, then yeah, go work at FedEx, bro.
You're right.
Go Uber Eats over there, kid. Cause this ain't for the weak of heart.
There's two examples actually using Teddy as an example. And sorry, Teddy, if you're looking at this, my bad. Devante Swing from Jodie and Pharrell Williams. They all have stories of doing things within that camp and not getting it, but they kept it moving and made their own path.
Made more. They made
Exactly. So
more. They learned.
exactly.
Look.
Like you
There's
said, that's a good
plenty of
example.
stories of people in the industry who felt they've been slighted. I love Teddy. No disrespect ever to Teddy. That's my brother.
Yeah.
I love him to death. But he had it was like a training ground for the industry.
Yeah.
And Devante Swing, and if him or Pharrell had to try to fight for, you know, the pennies they would have made off those songs or whatever. It could have been millions or thousands. They would have never made
We wouldn't have heard about them.
ever. Look at
We
what
wouldn't.
where they are now. Thank you, Teddy, for creating Devante Swing
Exactly.
and
So
Pharrell. You know what I mean?
exactly.
That dude, your friend from the Bronx, who you know, he could have been up there now. Now he's at the Grand Concourse selling incense. You know what I mean?
Fordham. Nah.
Hey, Bronx people are specific. Yo, Fordham, dog, not Grand Concourse. Nah.
Yeah, we have to be because there's certain sections within,
Yeah,
you know.
I
Nah.
know, I'm just talking, but yeah, you know, so it's not going to be. This road is not easy.
Nah.
You got to know what you're willing to deal with, what you're willing to handle, and what you're not willing to handle. Some people, they're not made for it, and there's no knocking them not being made for it. It's just everybody aren't built like that.
And some people don't have the stomach. And like my older brother, God rest his soul, he passed away 2 years ago. He did music, and he did music before me, and like worked at a radio station, did records and stuff like that. But when I went to get into the game, the first thing he said was like, "Nah, it'll eat you up." But my response to him was, "No, it's not going to eat me up. It may have eaten you up." And I knew he was giving me advice based on his experience. But I've always been stronger than him mentally and just in general. And of course, I don't disrespect my older brother because I loved him. But I realized, like, once I went into it, like, one, I had to prove him wrong to myself, because it's like, if he feels I'm not strong enough, I'm gonna let him know I'm not strong enough. I mean, damn near 40 years later, I'm still involved. Maybe not in the capacity that I thought I'd be, but I'm still involved. But I still had the stomach to. He didn't. And like I said, no disrespect to him, because but as you stated before, there are certain people that can do things or can handle certain things, and some people that can't. That doesn't take anything away from their talent, their intelligence. And I know some people who are very smart, very intelligent, can do things, but don't want to put up with the bullshit that comes with it, so they just walk away from it. I respect them. I respect them because I put it with a lot of bullshit. I put it with a lot of bullshit, and I'm built for it. Not to say to take the bullshit, but I'm built to either take that bullshit and turn it around, or know when to not take it, so that way I can succeed in whatever I'm doing. And a lot of people don't have that. And I tell people that even that is a skill set that a lot of people, and like common sense isn't really common.
It's not.
I say that all the time.
People see my social media and they see me with pictures of all these celebrities and everything, and see me at these incredible parties at people's houses, and they are like, how do you get in those situations? For me, it's because I'm a solid dude. Yep. My word is bond. I'm not no gossiper. I can be in a situation and I'm not going to be, telling what's going on. And I don't want to see anything. I don't want to see nothing crazy. So with me not wanting to see anything, I don't see anything. And I'm not a liability. I've been at Jamie Foxx's crib out in Cali. I've never seen his bedroom. I've been in his crib a lot of times. Yeah. I never seen his bedroom. I don't need to see that nigga's bedroom. I don't need to see his bedroom. And not anything, I'm not saying anything about him in particular, but I'm just saying period. Like, I'm not exploring his crib. Wow, this crib is crazy. What's back here? What's back there? What's going on? I don't do that.
You're likely to see something you're not supposed to.
You said what?
You're likely to see something you're not supposed to. So
I don't know. I don't know.
No, that's what I'm saying. I agree with you, because that's why I don't do that as well. Because if I'm not directed there, well, let me rephrase that, because you can be directed somewhere that's not not supposed to be at. But if, like you said, if it's a situation where I don't feel comfortable, or I'm okay, I'm not going to do it.
Yeah, I mean, and I'm not, and I just use Jamie Foxx's career because his house is enormous. It's crazy. So I don't explore people's cribs. I don't do that. I don't go. I'm just there for the purpose of what I'm there for. And you got to understand this industry, that you have to know what your purpose is and what you're willing to do and what you're willing not to do. And you not willing to do something doesn't mean that your career is not going to advance. It's not going to advance in that way.
Exactly.
You might have to, instead of taking 1 year, it might take 3 years to get the same place. But in that 3 years, you feel good about yourself because you can sleep at night. And so that's the whole thing. Like you said, your mom, I have homies and I'm parents that I don't want them to be embarrassed by seeing a videotape of me. Oh, that's Dennis, and and so you have to be accountable for what you do and feel good about it.
I'm gonna be very honest. A lot of things that have gone down over the years with people that I know,
Mm-hmm.
when I had the inclination that it was going in a direction I didn't want to be involved with, I quickly walked away. And there are many people that I know that continue that walk, and you don't even know where they are now.
Yeah.
And I've never wanted to be that person. And I could write books about what was about to happen because I don't know what happened, but
Mm-hmm.
hearing about it. But I'm like, nah. I'd rather be broke walking down the street knowing that I can walk down that street than
Mm-hmm.
to have made some money, than to have something over my head,
Mm-hmm.
people behind my back that
Mm-hmm.
know certain things that I can't do anything without either getting approval from them
Yep.
or with the situation where they can expose me. So
Mm-hmm.
that's why I'm always smiling. People are like, why are you always smiling? I'm like, with the life that I've led, the life that I'm leading, I have
Mm-hmm.
nothing to be ashamed about.
Mm-hmm.
I'm good. I am good. And like, not to bring them back up again, but that situation that just happened, like I was within that little circle really, really long time ago.
I remember you was in that circle.
Don't do that.
Yeah, you was in that circle.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
That's what they call you, Big Ced.
Don't do that. But is there anything else that is there anything else coming up for you or that you would like to do that you would like to talk about? 'Cause I know sometimes when you're doing things, some people don't like to, talk about whatever they're doing. But is there anything that's coming up or anything you're looking forward to that you would want to discuss to the audience?
Yeah, I just jumped on to co-produce this documentary called The Baristas versus the Billionaires. It's about the workers for Starbucks trying to unionize and their
Oh, okay.
struggle and the oppression that happens with that from the people from Buffalo, South Carolina, and other cities who've tried to galvanize
Yeah.
and unionize as well. And so we're in the process. We're in the midst of the documentary. It's a great project that I just signed on to help. So right now we're looking for anybody in the entertainment field or anybody that has ever worked at Starbucks, and to have conversations with them. So that's it. That's what I'm currently on. Just happy that Cold and Windy is doing well. I wasn't on season one. I came on season two, and this is their best season. And
Because you're on it, of course.
of course, yeah, and I have a TV show called Clubhouse Cinema on Tubi. It's a short movie review show comedy, and it's funny. It's real funny. So we got a couple episodes on now, and we're about to drop some more. So that's on Tubi.
When you say Clubhouse, do you mean the app?
No,
Okay,
no.
okay. I just want to make sure. I just want to
Yeah,
make that clear.
Clubhouse
Okay.
Cinema. So it's me and the celebrity and my crew, and we talk about short films, but it's so funny, so crazy, sketch comedy and stuff like that. So
Okay.
it's really great review. So that's on Tubi right now. So I just been produced. I got some stuff coming up. I don't really want to talk about it yet, but that's enough right now for you to get a lot of Dennis the Menace. And my OnlyFans is dropping next. Um, yeah,
Yeah.
nah, but
People are making money off of that, so I mean,
yo, yo. But I just appreciate. I appreciate the opportunity to still be in the industry, to still work, to still do what I love. To stay sucker free and keep creating.
one last question. What would you want your legacy to be when it's all said and done? Whether it's 10 years, whether it's 50 years, or whether it's tomorrow.
Hope it ain't 10 years.
You might find God and say, you know what, I want to give all this up and give my
That's
life.
still part of my legacy. My legacy would be that Dennis did what he wanted to do. Dennis was a solid person, and Dennis opened doors for people.
It's always a good thing.
Yeah, man. You know, we don't have a lot of time on this earth, and so we need to cherish it and also um, build and create. You know, and especially with how many people are passing away,
Yeah,
ridiculous. You know what I mean? So many people falling down left and right. Shout out to Fat Man Scoop and his family. It's just so many people that's passing away. So you got to stay prayed up. Um, go after your goals, love family, and protect your spirit.
definitely. Well, I appreciate that, Mr. Dennis L.A. White, for taking your time to discuss the things we discussed, to take time off, from directing and being in front of the camera, so that way we can give some of the viewers an idea of what they would be getting into if they were to choose that, or if they're in it now and they want to up their game. Oh,
Yeah,
actually, act like you know. Tell them how
yeah.
to.
You go www.actlikeyouknow.org. ActlikeyouKnow.org. Spelled the way it's said. You know what I mean, or said the way it's spelled. And on social media at Dennis L.A. White on all platforms.
Cool. Well, thanks again, and for everybody that tuned in, appreciate you tuning in. Big Ced, the industry code sign. My friends are better than yours. Prove me wrong. Till the next time. I hate when I do this because anytime I try to end it, I slip a button. Until the next time, and I did it again. See, I hate that.